Some soul artistry meeting, y'all give James Bing a wonderful round of applause.
Welcome to you guys. Introduce the song, present to others, Miss Algebra Blessett. Give it a hand. Derek Roberson performing in shows and stuff like that. But we really want to get into the personal story. She's been in the industry a very long time, since very young, very young. And many people don't know that you actually did touring with Monica. And you kind of started out really young, but I really want you to start at the beginning. Can you talk about the Unit, a group that you wrote with when you first started out?
Absolutely. I've been around since the 1940s. I started out with, I guess right out of, I went to North Atlanta High School, School of Performing Arts, and also went to Morris Brown College. So, like high school, college, I was actually signed to Dallas Austin. And I had no idea what I really wanted to do as an artist, musician. By that time, I hadn't even written a real song. I just wrote a lot. So in that situation, I was working with Carlos and Dada, who that evolved into another production situation called The Unit, and they're from Texas. From Michael to Madonna, he was still doing on TLC, ABC. It was so many different types of music, pop acts, R&B acts, and alternative rock acts. So I was kind of forced to listen to everything that came through Rowdy Records, that came through Dark. So got a chance to meet a lot of famous people, but at the time I'm just more interested in doing cartwheels in the studio and singing. Like you don't think about it. It's like, that's Madonna, but I love Madonna. It's great. I'm never going to work with her. I don't care. It's just so long as her and I can do cartwheels together in the studio, then that's fine with me. But now that I'm older, I'm like, maybe we should have been doing music or something. But I didn't know. But that experience in itself was just kind of great. I mean, in performing arts, that's what you see. You see the glam, you see all the smoke and mirrors, but when you get into the real world, you figure out that you have to pay for the smoke and the mirrors. Like the theater isn't free anymore, so, and plus growing up, my mom, my grandmother, my aunt who's here, I think my mom is Carmen, I grew up in a very, very heavy gospel quartet family, traveling with the Jackson Southernairs, the Blind Boys of Alabama. So my mother, as a little girl, like I would dress like them, and she'd be up there playing bass, and I'd have on their outfits, and I'm just sitting in the pew singing along. I know all these songs, but I never wanted to be out front. I would come home from school and they're rehearsing. I would get up and go to school and they're rehearsing. It was just always there. I never really wanted to be out front. I loved music. I was always singing, but that wasn't my primary goal. I just loved music, and it was the one I never wanted it to be tainted either. It was just something that I wanted to do in the privacy of my home with my family, and something happened. It just kind of pulled me back in.
Talk about that.
Yeah, it's a few of those albums, and honestly, this is where we all sit in the same boat, because I know for sure that everyone in here that heard Miss Education completely flipped out when they heard it. Not because you had never heard anything like that before, but because she did it, because she brought it back in a way. Hip-hop is like very, very fluent. She's singing, she's writing, she's a musician. It's like, yeah, well, she's a woman, but ain't she a part of the Fugees? Hold on, she can really sing. So it just hits you. I have a lot of albums that were turning points. Miss Education of Lauryn Hill, Outkast, Southern Playalistic, all of their albums. How many of y'all going to the concert? It was just a lot of them that kind of hit in a very formulative point in my life that kind of inspired me to not put boundaries on myself, do what I love to do, and never ever try to be like anyone else. Mm-hmm. Like there's a thin line between copying somebody and being inspired by somebody. Mm-hmm. And I wish people would stop copying. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it happens. I mean, I guess it's a form of flattery in a sense, but to be inspired by artists that you feel are awesome or great, it's a beautiful thing. What we're doing, a lot of us, I don't know about y'all in here, but some people have Facebook Lives. How you create, you only put on Facebook what's good. But the moment that something goes sour, you're not posting on Facebook. I try to do the good and the bad and the ugly because it helps me heal. It helps me get through something. And I have friends that say, Algebra, that's not right. I'm like, yeah, that's not right. But I have to face that. So it helps with the honesty in the U.S. and having to go abroad. Oh, now she cool. So, we have these different honest struggles that I want to be a part of that group that puts it into my music.
What is it about Atlanta being here? Because it's such a hotbed for music just in general. But even at the time you were coming up, a lot of the acts, TLC, all that kind of R&B was starting to take.
Many of us remember going to the Cyclorama. It's things that we did, Coca-Cola Factory. That was great, drinking all the drinks, but you can't really appreciate it till you leave and actually go to Africa, then you come back and drink an African Coca-Cola. It means something totally different to you. So I think Atlanta just possessed this energy about it. It's a melting pot of great music. It's the South. We're pseudo city slickers. We country bumpkins too. And not a lot of places have that. We are really cityfied in Atlanta. It's the South, so we got country. We got amazing country artists.
Right.
Blues, like pop. We just have everything that Atlanta always had different sounds. West Coast had a sound, but they didn't have country artists. So Atlanta had a sound, like a LaFace sound, but they still had this crazy bluegrass, Trisha Yearwood and the Indigo Girls at the same time. So we had the LaFace, TLC, Tony Braxton, Monica, but then you still have Indigo Girls jamming. So we just had so much at one time.
Talk about how it was when here you are on tour with Bilal and Monica, but yet you had a writing credit on India, Irie's Voyage to India, and she wins a Grammy. Mm-hmm. What did that experience do for you as a solo artist to say, okay, if I can write that on her album, this is what I can do for myself?
I never said that. I never said, if I can do this, then I can do that. I just looked back and I said, God, I had a whole bunch of hats. And every different job is a different monster. The opportunities come, you make a choice to do it. And if I am to have a fear, my biggest fear is to miss it, to not enjoy what happens. I never wanted to look back and go, where that song came from, or how did I do this? I try to revel in the moment as much as I can. As a background singer, I love being a background singer. That's actually harder than being up front because it requires way more discipline. So you kind of got to match. It's a full choir with two other people who don't sound like you and you don't sound like them, and then they get off note and you like, will you come on? And it's just a lot versus being out there by yourself. You can do whatever you want to do. I can change this song up, which I'm probably going to do tonight, but I can do that because it's mine. But, yeah, they're different monsters, but there's a lesson in each thing.
And that's good.
They're miserable. Like, I talk about all of that stuff because it's me, and for some reason, you can't tell me that there's not another person that will not relate to what I'm going through. Because I'm human, and I'm not perfect, and I'm an emotional person. I'm just saying.
So, when the album was finished and you got success, there's been a 6-year layoff between Purpose coming out and now this album. You've done a lot. You've released an EP, Dessert Before Dinner. You've done collaborations and kind of all those things. Why such a long period in between the two albums?
Okay, so I would love to be able to say, oh, I had 3 kids, and I got married, and, I got strung out on drugs, and now I'm rehabilitated. But I actually looked up and said, wow, it's been 5-6 years. However, I look back also and I go, I was writing for other people. I was being featured on their albums. I was getting Grammys. And I did not know I was. That's very big for me. And I was becoming an auntie. Like, I was being involved in my family's life. However, I was also working on the album, but I didn't know which direction I wanted to go. I didn't know how I wanted to convey what I wanted to say. So I was still working. Y'all just didn't hear it. That's all.
That's good. And since you talk about family, talk about the importance not only of your mother, but even your two sisters and your brother, and how they've kind of, been that support system for you as an artist, and how important that is for you as you go forward.
I am the eldest of my siblings, and they get on my nerves so much because early on, my sister is 6 years younger than me. So it went from, oh my God, thank you, Mama, for having me this beautiful live doll, to, Jesus, keep her out my room, just leave me alone. So the invasion of privacy taught me a whole lot. The being able to open up to somebody else who understood what I was going through. Like, family is so important. We all have family issues, but to have sisters and brothers who have kids, especially when they're younger than you, and you see the spitting image of the little devils that you changed diapers of, and now they have little devils. It completely changed my life. So I think it's important, and it keeps me grounded, because the moment that I get off track, I have two sisters and a brother, an aunt, a mama, a daddy, great friends who are scattered throughout this room to kind of tap me on the shoulder and say, Algebra, what's up? Like we did, to remind us that we are loved, we're human, and, not condemning, but I need it very bad.
I think we all do need somebody in our lives, whether it's family or friends, to kind of keep us on a level playing field. Because just as an artist, sometimes you can be so creative and so in the moment that you may just lose it. And sometimes you need that person to kind of grab you and go, yeah, kind of pull you right down.
I need y'all. So like if you see me at Kroger, and then you're like, oh, she ain't even speak to me, say something to me, okay? Because I'm not going to remember your face, but you need that. You guys coming out tonight is a reminder that I'm not doing it in vain. You could be anywhere else tonight, but you're sitting here listening to me talk about some stuff that you probably Googled and you already know. But, you're here with me, so I appreciate it.
Talk about the whole Motown, Kadar thing, and how, when you were signed to Motown and then moving on, how did that affect your career?
I was signed to Motown for about 10 months. Kedar Massenberg signed me. When he decided to leave, there was an option for me to stay or go with him. I took the option of going with him. I feel like he believed in what I was doing. It took a while for us to put out Purpose, but for the business savvy that I did have at the time, all the work that I had put in, I knew that it would have been shelved from who was coming in. Not because it was no good, not because of they didn't like, but a lot of things can be very political. So it's good to kind of say, yeah, I was signed to Motown. How long? 10 months. But I was on it, I was on their roster for a little while. So, and I got a chance to meet that amazing staff and still do business with Kedar Massenberg, who is he understood a certain sound in black music that was always there, but he figured out a way to coin it so that we could give it a little bit more attention, which is the phrase neo-soul. And a lot of times they hate it. Like the artists now, they hate, I'm not a neo-soul artist. It's always been R&B, but I think it might have taken that term for the world to give it another listen. Oh, this is a new genre. So you kind of got to be appreciative of that. Sometimes we need labels to, gain the interest of something else. Yeah, I don't think I really care. Maybe I should. Should I care about what y'all call it? Huh? Yeah, I don't care. It's kind of hard for me because you're not going to call me jazz. However, I did write a jazz record. I'm not a gospel artist, but I've written gospel songs. So I don't care. What you can call it, racks on racks on racks music. And so long as you're going to listen to it and buy it and you can relate to it, then you call it what you want. I want to be a part of your iPod shuffle. When you put your iPod in, or your phone, and you just hit shuffle, it just comes up. Y'all in here don't listen to just one type of music. I just want to be a part of the shuffle, okay? Just have me to be a part of your shuffle. And I'm good if you call it what you want. And my manager the tall, huge gentleman in the back. He gives me this gift certificate to New York School Trapeze. And I was like, okay, but see, he was slick with it because my homeboy, who used to be my DJ, Walt, he was like, hey, Al, I'm gonna take you somewhere. I just get dressed, you know. I'm putting makeup on and I'm thinking I'm gonna go out somewhere cute for brunch, you know. And then he takes me to this little hub on the west side. And it's a school, a circuit school. So I'm like, I can't do this and, you know. But see, I always wear tights, so I was like, fine. So I go into this place and like, yeah, you're gonna jump on a trampoline. So I'm jumping on this trampoline. I think I bit my knee. I kicked myself in the eye. I did a lot of stuff, but just jumping on the trampoline. Y'all grown. Try to jump on a trampoline.
I know, right?
It's not gonna be the same as when you were a kid. I guarantee you. How many of y'all done swung on a swing in the last month or so? It's different. Of course you have it. But it's different. You go slide down a slide board, it feels different. I encourage everybody in here to go to the park with your kids and actually get on the contraptions there, okay? It's different. So, you know, I'm bleeding just jumping on the trampoline. And in there I see these apparatuses. I was like, that's cool. Came home 2 days later, my play sister, she should be here, I'm not sure. She says, I have a Groupon to go to this place called Sky Gym. I was like, okay, I'll go. And then we go in here and there's this fabric hanging and we have to pull ourselves over. Okay, so I'm small. And I was like, I can do this. This is nothing. I am woman, hear me roar. I got up in there and tried to pull myself over and could not do it. From that 1 hour, I was in excruciating pain 5 hours later. And that just motivated me to keep doing it. And I started to just continuously go. And I fell in love with it. It was just one of those, I didn't know that I would actually do it in a show until my mom, she was like, what's wrong with your back? I was like, Mama, what? What's wrong with my back? You got muscles. What are you talking about? Not knowing how I'm changing as a person physically. It's just something that I like to do. And she's like, you should do that in a show. I was like, no ma'am, that's not gonna happen. Be obedient, Felicia, be obedient. That's my middle name. And I was like, okay. About 8 months into doing it, we had a May 4th show with Eric Roberson. And clearly I was not ready to do this live. And I did it. And it was so invigorating. So I just kept doing it. And I will tell you this thing though. Any of that physical activity, I mean, it's like being an athlete, being a dancer. It requires so much discipline. It requires flexibility. It requires strength. And all of those things are required when I am on stage and performing and recording. You got to be disciplined in being this musician. You got to be flexible and fluid in your emotions, or you wind up jumping off a cliff or getting cracked out or something. So it just made sense to put it together. And of course, you know, there's always those people, oh, Pink did it. Pink ain't doing what I'm doing. Maybe in the beginning I thought, but now that I know about it, we're not doing the same thing. And I love her for what she does. Once again, another Atlanta artist that continuously transforms. So it's just a great way to just be expressive. So I keep doing it, and I love it.
Your name. Can you talk about the story behind that?
That is my statement. My real name, Keisha. Okay. Algebra is my real name, my God-given name. First name, Algebra. Middle name, Felicia. My surname is Blessett. And I was named Algebra after both of my aunts, actually. Algebra comes from my dad's sister and my grandmother and my mother, them both loving numbers and math so much. Felicia came from my mother's sister, who's in the back here. And, of course, Blessett. So it's my real... That's the one... I'm not original with my names. They gave it to me. It wasn't anything like they had a wreck and they looked up and there was all these equations there. And It was nothing like that. They just, you know, I was named after my family, so it's a family thing.
Family.
Baggy, you know, 3 sizes bigger, and I actually still wear that. Y'all just don't see me, and I'm really at the crib. My favorite wardrobe is sweatpants and t-shirts. My manager said I couldn't wear that no more. And I mean, that's pretty much it. That's always been my being comfortable. I love sneakers. I start if you guys have been following me, you noticed, hey, Algebra got on heels. I only started wearing heels because I lost a bet with my background singers. And it was, since I lost the bet, Algebra, if you lose the bet, you gotta wear heels for a year on stage. So those times that y'all came to the show and I kicked my shoes off, it was because I couldn't wear the sneakers on stage. Anything before that, I'm usually in sneakers, but then I fell in love with wearing heels on stage. It made me feel, a little closer to God in a way. So yeah, I say wear what you like, and I follow some trends now, but only if I like it, not because everybody else says it's hot. Like I'm polo shirt, Levi's. Yeah.
So what are your favorite songs on the album? Without
all of them.
You just said you had some favorites.
Yeah, for singles, but I love each and every one of these songs. I do.
Space. Now I might fuss a little bit, cuss a little bit, you know this, yeah. But if you trust a little bit, you gon' get 100%. I don't want nobody but you. Don't want nobody touching me.